Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're jumping right into something absolutely massive. We are stepping into an ancient map of what is basically the ultimate spiritual hero's journey. We're unlocking volume 73 of a text so dense it would literally take years to read, the Mahaprajnaparamita Sastra. This is a text that systematically breaks down exactly what it takes to construct a completely unshakable mind. It's an absolutely fascinating psychological blueprint, and we're going to explore exactly how it works.
So, before we get bogged down in all the ancient terminology, I want you to think about something for a second. Have you ever committed to a path so deeply that turning back just wasn't an option anymore? Just think about that level of absolute, unshakable resolve. Now, imagine taking that feeling, multiplying it by infinity, and applying it not just to your career or a relationship, but to the salvation of literally every living being. That is the exact state of mind we're going to decode today. To make sense of this dense spiritual map, here's our roadmap. We'll start with the point of no return, look at the traits of the unshakable, face Mara's ultimate tests, uncover the wisdom of emptiness, and finally, look at living in the world.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. The point of no return. Entering the stage of absolute certainty.
All right, so the core term anchoring this whole explainer is avivartika. It's an ancient Sanskrit term that translates to the state of non-retrogression on the bodhisattva path. Psychologically speaking, this is a monumental milestone. It is a mindset so profoundly locked in that the individual can literally no longer fall backward. They can't regress into ordinary suffering, and they definitely can't be tempted by lesser, easier spiritual paths. Their trajectory is absolute. The text tells us the Avivartika fundamentally bypasses the paths of the Shravaka and Pratyeka Buddha. But what does that mean in plain English? Basically, it means they've completely abandoned the temptation of a quick personal exit from suffering. They aren't looking for some shortcut to their own enlightenment while just leaving everyone else behind. Instead, their destiny is irreversibly focused on saving all beings. They become what the text calls a true field of merit for the entire world to draw upon.
Section 2. Traits of the Unshakable. The Psychology of the Bodhisattva.
So, how does someone who has crossed this threshold actually operate? Well, the Ajavivartika operates with this profound softness of body, mind, and speech. They aren't rigid or harsh. Their deep compassion makes them incredibly adaptable. They adhere to ethical behaviors so completely that they practice it even in their dreams, which, let's be honest, is a major step up from the weird anxiety dreams the rest of us have, right? Their subconscious is totally aligned with their conscious path. The text also notes they ignore the shortcomings of others, because pointing them out unhelpfully is like taking a knife to the heart of someone not ready to learn. Plus, they're completely free from the 5 hindrances, things like lust, anger, and crippling doubt.
Now sometimes, this ancient text kind of needs a psychological decoder ring. When it says they will never be reborn in lower realms, it's actually talking about complete freedom from primal fear and pure greed. The claim they won't be reborn as a woman, that reflects 4th century social hierarchies, so it really symbolizes bypassing systemic disempowerment. And eliminating 80,000 microscopic bodyworms? Yeah, that's just a very vivid, slightly gross ancient metaphor for total psychosomatic purity. Their mind and body are entirely free of toxic parasitic thoughts. But reaching this high state doesn't mean you're just left in peace. Actually, it attracts the ultimate opposition.
Section 3. Mara's Ultimate Tests. Facing the Demons of Doubt.
Enter Mara. He's the demonic personification of illusion and internal doubt. Mara knows the bodhisattva has reached this high level, so he deploys escalating psychological warfare. Think of Mara as the ultimate embodiment of imposter syndrome and burnout. Step 1 is pure fear. Mara conjures visions of hell, showing the bodhisattva that their noble path is only going to lead to ultimate suffering and failure. Step 2 is temptation. He disguises himself as a holy monk, offering an easy, immediate shortcut out of the world's suffering. And if those fail, step 3 is the absolute worst, the lie of nihilism. Mara tries to convince them that since all things are ultimately empty, their grand vow is pointless and absolutely nothing matters.
And this brilliantly illustrates some incredible mental judo. Mara whispers, "Your path is just suffering. Take the quick shortcut to nirvana and end your pain now." But instead of panicking, the bodhisattva rejoices. They're like, actually, this obstacle confirms my path. If I'm being presented with this fake, easy way out, it highlights exactly what the true difficult path is. They literally take the energy of Mara's attack and use it as fuel. They are entirely unbothered. So, how do they deflect such intense psychological attacks without even breaking a sweat?
Which brings us to Section 4. The Wisdom of Emptiness. The ultimate weapon of Sunyata.
The text offers this incredibly profound philosophical anchor. Omniscience is like empty space. It has no signs. So the crucial point is this. The Bodhisattva realizes that literally everything lacks a fixed, permanent form. Even the concept of absolute wisdom, or the path itself, has no rigid shape. And because they realize nothing has a fixed form to cling to, there is simply nothing for Mara's illusions to grab onto. I mean, you can't shoot an arrow into empty space and expect it to hit a target. If you don't rigidly cling to an ego or a specific outcome, anxiety simply has nowhere to land.
This realization is encapsulated in a concept called no-birth Dharma patience. It's this awe-inspiring understanding that all phenomena, every thought, every fear, every physical object, are ultimately unproduced and empty. Because they know nothing is truly created or destroyed in a permanent sense, they develop a perfectly tranquil, immovable mind. This is the shield that makes the Avaivartika indestructible. Mara's illusions literally just pass right through them. Now, you might assume a being with this level of cosmic detachment would just, float away to a mountaintop and ignore humanity. But it's exactly the opposite.
Let's move to our final part, Section 5, Living in the World, Using Wealth and Power as Expedient Means.
The text gives us this brilliant metaphor, like using tongs to hold fire. The fire represents the messy, secular world filled with desires, wealth, and power. If you grab it with your bare hands, you're going to get burned by greed and attachment. But the Bodhisattva's unshakable mind, that wisdom of emptiness we just talked about, acts as the tongs. They can reach directly into the fire of the world to do their work, without ever getting burned themselves.
Let's see how this builds into daily existence. The unshakable mind manifests directly in the world, specifically to ease the suffering of others. They use worldly desires strictly as tools for compassion. The text mentions they might appear as a great king or a wealthy figure, raining down jewels, providing food, drink, and absolute necessities to those in need. Why? Because you can't teach profound philosophy to someone who's starving. They use vast wealth and immense power as practical tools to draw people in, yet they remain completely, utterly unattached to that power or status. They hold the whole shebang with the tongs.
Which brings us to the ultimate paradox of the Avaivartika, and a final provocative thought I want to leave you with today. If you realized all things were ultimately empty, would you abandon the world, or would you finally be free to save it? The Unshakable Mind of Volume 73 shows us that true detachment isn't about running away from life. It's about gaining the ultimate freedom to plunge right back into the fire, completely fearless, for the sake of everyone else. Think about that the next time you face a challenge that makes you want to turn back. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.